Partnered by Times Influence.
The Global Business Summit is here once again with its 5th edition with a new theme of social, sustainable and scalable. A flagship initiative of the Times Group that envisions to bring together visionaries, thought leaders, heads of state, policymakers, academicians and corporate heads cohesively driving a singular agenda for scripting economic change by connecting the building blocks of economics for India and the globe. Launched on January 15, 2015, GBS seeks to provide solutions to key macroeconomic challenges being faced in the current context and put forth a blueprint for sustainable, inclusive economic growth. GBS also serves as a platform for government-to-government interactions, business-to-government meetings, business-to-business engagements, and helps corporates and governments secure investments by showcasing opportunities to apt audiences. Here are some high points of the event.
Okay, I think while we spoke about automation first as a culture, I think thanks everyone for joining. The core question that I want to tee off, I think the first and foremost question that we are talking about is how important is digital transformation, and is automation a key priority? It's a question for all. Why don't we start with you, yeah?
Many times and often, digital transformation is confused with digitization. Both are important, both are extremely necessary, but they're different things. So digitization is taking a process, for example, and using technology to make it faster, more efficient, cheaper, simpler, something which RPA and companies like UiPath excel in. And therefore, this efficiency releases money and, just makes the organization that much more profitable, lower costs, etc. So it's an inside-out thing. It's a linear thing. It's far more about efficiency. Digital transformation, on the other hand, comes from the other side. It comes from the customer side. Digital transformation basically means that your customer has changed. And therefore, using digital tools and technologies, how and what do you need to change in your business and your business model? And how do you change that to appeal to the new customer?
I'm coming from an industry where we serve media and entertainment, education, infrastructure, D2H, and we could see that there is a change in our consumer behavior. Our consumer wants to watch content on the go, and they just want to pay it what they want to see. So what was changing here is my collection. My collection, which was earlier through cash and check, to e-money and internet. Similarly, on my infrastructure business, my consumer wants to pay their electricity bill, water bill, and tolls through mobile. They want a mobility. And there is large influx of data which is residing in the entity and untapped. Most of the times, analytics is post facto when the event is already over. Management expectation is that they want to slice and dice data now so that they can make business use of it. So with these changes, business transformation was mandatory for all of us.
I come from the telecom industry, and for us, both digitization as well as digital transformation are core to not only what we are doing internally to reshape ourselves, but also we sell that. And I'm going to give a simple example. You all know point-to-point connectivity, which could be an internet lease line or a VPN network. Now, in our company, what we've done is we've now looked at a software that defines a network. So earlier, you would go and buy capacity to meet your peak demand. You no longer have to do that. Digitally, you can define what is the capacity that you need, and that's really what's going to drive productivity. Across the organization, we've embraced digitization, and we are actually transforming ourselves. We used to be an erstwhile VSNL, so it's been a long journey for us to now become a global company.
So I think a lot has been said about the mindset and how it works for the business. So I'm probably going to share a pretty surreal experience that I had when I joined RBS. I was sent off to this robotic company in Switzerland, which is doing a lot of work around this technology. And they were giving us a simulated experience of what the world may look like. And as I entered, you have a registration desk. They actually had a robot, a machine robot sitting there and registering us. And I got my tag. I came down like all of you. I occupied one seat. So it was a theater seating, and every third seat, there was a bot. It wasn't like a very good-looking bot, but there was a bot. And it felt like a scene out of a sci-fi movie to me. On the panel discussion like this, there was a bot. And these little bots would beep if there was a question to be asked. So I don't know, I found myself a bit cautious about, how to handle this situation, though the bot was very friendly. And as we sat down, I think they were programmed to ask us our name and tell us their name. So the bot sitting next to me, name was John. And as there was a break in that meeting, I said, okay, I'm going out to get a coffee. John, can I get you something? And the voice which I got back was, no, liquids are not my body type. So they had programmed humor also in the bots. So my point of sharing this experience with all of you was, that's how the world may look like.
In my opinion and with my experience, there are 5 important pillars to embrace anything, including the automation first culture. The first is you should have the right strategy. Second is you should have the right approach. Third is you should have the right technology. Now, when it comes to these 3 things, whether it is a strategy, technology, or approach, you don't have any problem because a lot of OEMs, a lot of partners, including the organizers, are there to support you. But what is the compelling factor? What is impacting the next step is the mindset, which my fellow panelists also talk about, and the execution. So what I feel is the mindset and the execution is the key, and that's where we go slow in the organizations, in our society, and the execution gets impacted because of the mindset. So therefore, when you talk about the automation first culture, you have to first change the mindset, and the mindset has to be changed from the top.
Insurance is considered to be sort of boring business. It's a push business across the globe, not just India. And nobody buys insurance on its own. And all of you must be familiar with the model which used to exist for insurance several years back. That's the way we bought our first policy, that maybe an agent approaching you and then you kind of pestering with the multiple requests and then you buying a policy. Today, the concept of insurance has changed. So I'll say there's this digitization or digital revolution which is there. It is critical for the survival. Success comes later, but survival is first. If I want to run a company without being innovative, without being kind of putting digital transformation in the forefront, I can't. We'll fail. And that is true, I think, for all the businesses. So that is what is the importance. Many a times people feel challenged that, okay, if the technology is going to come, if RPA is going to be there, then people will be redundant. That's absolutely not right. Our company has grown 3 times in last 4 years. And my support function staff is almost same. We have not increased. The entire manpower increase has been in the front line. So that's how we have run the business. That's how we have used automation to the benefit of the organization. And we have driven efficiency through that.
Health insurance, as most of you would know, is hugely underpenetrated. This is a product which every human being on this earth needs. And if you need healthcare in today's age, it does cost money. So there is a financing tool requirement, right? So what have we been doing? I don't know if you're aware, we have 19,000 PIN codes in India. And if the board had asked me at that time, when we started the business, in 2019, how many PIN codes will you be in? Or will you have customers? I would have said maybe a few thousand. But today, having used technology and digitalization, we are in 17,000 plus PIN codes already. It could never have happened, and I could not have imagined it 10, 11 years ago. So, I mean, that's the power of which automation and digitalization can do for us in this sort of business.
Rajiv, you are from Boston Consulting Group. I think you come across this, correct? It's not only insurance. Why don't you extrapolate this to other sectors that you see?
So actually, to the point around automation first, actually, see, there are many technologies that are in vogue. There are 55 technologies that we have been tracking very closely. The rule of Moore's law applies. When things start, they start very slow. It is 2 to the power n. So if you start at 0.1, or 1, and then you 2 and 4 and 8 and 16, but suddenly beyond a point of inflection, it really takes off. Different technologies are at different points on this Moore's law right now. RPA, is automation first important? Absolutely it is. One would be stupid to say it isn't. And RPA has reached a certain point on that Moore's law where it is ready to take off. But the next technology that it needs to support it is artificial intelligence, because then you don't need the example that they just showed about saying, okay, here's a screen, here's the name, here's the position, can you create that? But having the intelligence to know that now that you've done it, the next time you attend, if I was to attend a conference, it does it automatically. There's an intelligence in there. And the thing behind that artificial intelligence then is machine learning. Machine learning, AI, and RPA are three different technologies at different points in the Moore's law. This entire ecosystem will take off when all of them cross a point of inflection. And then, with due respect to all my panelists, in organizations will not have to do change management.
The Global Business Summit 2019 also organized a series of one-on-one candid interviews with the who's who from the business fraternity from not only India but also from the rest of the world. We bring you some of those conversations.
I'm now in conversation with Raghu Subramaniam, the President and CEO of India UiPath. Raghu, thanks for talking to me. Tell me a little bit about UiPath. It's an exciting company. You guys are doing some great stuff. And tell me a little bit about the journey over the past few years that is leading up to, I believe, 2019, which could be a great and exciting year for you guys. So tell me about that.
Yeah, thanks, Sumit. Thanks for getting us in this great GBS event. It's a phenomenal event. Last 3 to 4 years has been simply unbelievable. I always connote when people ask me how it is, I say it's beyond expectation. It's a magic better than what Harry Potter could do. So we started from Europe, and from 2016 to 2018, we have seen the company growing at a great pace. Recently, all our investors told us we are the fastest growing enterprise software company ever in the history, from almost 20 to 40 customers in end of 2015. We currently have almost 3,000 plus global customers. Year on year, we have been seeing the revenue grow upwards of 500 plus percentage. That has been simply unbelievable. We have been endorsed as the category leaders across all the analysts, be it Forrester, Everest, or HFS. Recently, we also got noted as one of the top 100 AI companies by CB Insights, who track the AI companies out of the 3,000 that we tracked. So it has been a phenomenal year for us. And in last 1.5 years, we also have expanded to almost 19 countries and 38 cities. We have around 2,400 employees globally. And right from 2016, India has played a strategic and critical lever for the global growth of UiPath. 19 is as exciting as ever. We just concluded a panel discussion. Yes. Hearing to that discussion, I feel there is much more that could be done than what we plan ourselves. We always believe that the competition is what we are doing and what we could do more.
Right. So, first up, tell me some of the key takeaways that you took that came up during this panel here at GBS.
The key theme that as an organization that we are driving is the automation first mindset. Automation first mindset is about looking at automation and seeing how it can help you to be productive as a human being, as a corporate citizen, as a business, right? Rather than worrying about automation is going to take away your job, it's about how can you work alongside a machine rather than it's not a machine versus man. That was one important discussion that came. Second discussion that came was how we can promote India as an automation epic center and automation capital for the world. And third, how we can increase the talent pool across. And we came up with the principle of we always have a theme of one robo for every person. And for India, we feel one robo for every student is extremely relevant, because in K-12 we have almost 280 to 300 million students. In higher education, we have almost 36 to 38 million students. And by embracing automation first mindset, and UiPath providing them some of these stuff, free robo, free training, bringing them up to speed, it could collectively increase the cumulative productivity and competitiveness of the country. That's a whole belief.
And what are some of the sectors that you feel would be the most impacted by RPAs?
When you say impacted, positively or not
both,
positively?
In fact, both. Why don't we talk about both actually?
Automation is indeed going to help the country grow, right? So if you break down into various sectors, every sector has huge amount of inefficiencies and transaction that is prevalent. Automation is going to help them become more productive, more competitive. It is not going to impact any one of them in a negative manner. It is going to help them be extremely competitive. All the transaction will get completed much faster. The mundane work need not be done by the human beings. Human beings will know how to orchestrate and work with the robots. So it is only going to help them. As far as India is concerned, our focus areas, we say it's split into 2 or 3 aspects, right? India, we have companies which are doing the operations work in India. We call them as Global Capability Center, or the captives, where you have a head office in Europe or APAC or Americas, and they do the processing work here in India, right. The entire back office processing. So those are huge target audience for us, and we have been doing tremendously well with them, creating value. 2 is all the India headquartered companies, which is massive.
Yes,
all the top companies, be it PSUs, be it all the companies listed in Sensex, and also all the government companies. That's a huge target for us. 3, if you look at the entire system integrator and the developer ecosystem that we have, all the IT companies and the BPO companies, they are both our customers / target customers, and also they are the creator of the net talent that is needed for robotic process automation and the student ecosystem. So these are the 4 target areas we feel, and all of them are very excited to embrace RPA.
Fantastic. Well, all our best wishes for the way ahead for you, Raghu. Thank you so much for talking.
Thanks a lot, Sumit. Thanks.
I'm now in conversation with Saurabh Varma, the CEO of Publicis Communications. Saurabh, thank you for talking to me here.
My pleasure.
You know, digital is impacting every industry, and especially marketing, content creation. So what are some of the, how big a disruptor has digital been? Any other big disruptors that you've seen in the industry over the past few years?
So if you really think of, our business, which is broadly communications, we are now in what we call wave 3, and which is where we are all moving towards. And the opportunity is really in immersive storytelling, is using data to create content rapidly with speed. So what we have done is we now have what we call a country model, right, which is quite a unique model in our world. And what we have built are these specialist platforms which all the brands are leveraging together. So for us, the big theme for India is really, and globally, is really the power of one, using these platforms to power the narrative that we create. Right. Again, the platforms that we build are more in the content space. So if you look at broadly content, we now have Prodigious, which is pretty much the largest advertising production house in India. We have the Content Factory, which has ability to create quick, dynamic content. We have Publicis Entertainment, which not just creates content for in the entertainment space, it actually finds a way to embed brands uniquely in the entertainment space. Right. We have MSL, which is by far the finest PR agency. We have Digitas, which is the largest digital agency in India. And we have Indigo, which is our specialist build agency. I think, again, one of the best in the country. So for us, it's really about leveraging the power of one across these specialist platforms to create value for our clients.
Thank you so much, Saurabh, for your time and for your insights, and
my
all
pleasure.
Best wishes for the way ahead.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm now in conversation with His Excellency Brian McElduff. He's the Ambassador of Ireland to India. Thank you so much for talking to us here.
Oh, pleasure to be here.
Ireland is the country partner of GBS 2019 here.
Yes.
You also have an Indian origin Prime Minister.
That's correct.
So, a lot of relations between
Yes.
the two countries. And trade is also increasing. I believe in 2016, 2017, bilateral trade was almost, I think, $1 billion.
Yeah.
Your sense of the growth that we can expect in the next few years?
It's always very difficult to make predictions. So much depends on the international situation too. But India is the biggest, fastest growing big economy. Ireland is the fastest growing European economy. The rates of growth are quite similar, 6 or 7% a year, which is remarkable. So I think it's bound to increase trade. What we really would like to have is a free trade agreement, of course, between the EU and India would transform things very dramatically, and this has been negotiated. It's been going on for quite a long time, so we're hopeful that would make a big difference.
Lovely. I do know that Ireland is becoming a more frequent destination for Indian students to go study abroad. Tell me a little bit about that. What is making Ireland attractive to the Indian students?
I think education is the big success story. Actually, if you look at the history of relations, many Irish ran the top schools in India historically. It's going back quite a long time, maybe 50 years or longer. Nowadays, we have a lot of Indian students going to Ireland, over 3,000. It's doubled in recent years. It's increasing all the time. We speak English, which is obviously a key selling point.
Yes.
It's a very safe place. It's familiar. There's a big Indian community as well. If people like to have Indian food, they can find Indian food. Also, we allow Indian students to work part-time during their studies and to stay back up to 2 years, which means they can start their careers in Ireland. So that's a very important factor for people.
Thank you so much, His Excellency, for talking to us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm now in conversation with Vivek K. Chandy, the Joint Managing Partner at JSA. Hi Vivek, thanks for talking to me here. So I know recently you represented one of the largest sellers in the Walmart Flipkart deal. So could you quickly tell me a little bit about that? How's that process?
Yes, actually we acted for eBay. So a few months before that, we acted for eBay when eBay sold eBay into Flipkart. Thereafter, eBay had a shareholding in Flipkart, and when Walmart bought over that shareholding, we represented eBay, and eBay was naturally one of the large shareholders. That was a very interesting transaction. After this transaction, we thought there were going to be two really big players. That is Amazon, and then Walmart controlled Flipkart. There are other players like Paytm and others, but we thought these were the two big giants. But my sense is that now there probably could be one, if not more, Indian parties that might actually get into the field and challenge them. And so that's going to be quite exciting, and we're really looking forward to that.
Thanks a lot, Vivek. Thanks
Pleasure.
for talking to me, and best wishes for the way ahead.
Thank you so much.
I'm now in conversation with Sid Shankar, the equity partner at JSA. Hi Sid, thanks for talking to me. Talk to me about some of the trends that you're seeing in the healthcare space in M&As. What's happening there?
Well, what we're seeing here is a lot of consolidation, and eventually we will see hospital chains, pharmaceutical chains, medical devices eventually looking at consolidation. The way the trend has been in the last few months, and so we're seeing most of the hospitals are now invested by private equity funds. Now eventually when this is going to be over, we're not going to have much hospitals left. You're going to see some consolidation at that level. Also, we are seeing, because of the Ayushman Bharat scheme, a lot of investments now moving into tier 2 and the tier 3 cities. This is going to be very exciting from the healthcare perspective, because end of the day, healthcare is a requirement. You need, as the Prime Minister just said, we need more AIMS coming up. We need more of these hospital chains coming up. We're already seeing some of the big hospitals now moving into the tier 2 and the tier 3 cities. So this is what I see as a great opportunity for private investment coming into this in the healthcare space.
I'm now in conversation with Mr. Tapan Singhal, the MD and CEO of Bajaj Allianz General Insurance. Mr. Singhal, thank you so much for joining us here. First up, we're here at GBS 2019. The theme this year is social, sustainable and scalable. Your thoughts on the theme, how does it resonate with India and maybe with Bajaj Allianz also?
If you look at the theme, this is a theme which is relevant today, was relevant yesterday, and will be relevant forever. Anything which is not social, which is not sustainable, which is not scalable, is not really something which should be there. And if I look at insurance as such, and Bajaj Allianz, See, insurance is something which has a high impact on society. It is social. It is sustainable. It existed from the time civilization were created, and it will only die with civilization. It is very clear. So, the only thing is the scalability. If I look at the Indian context in terms of penetration, it's still very low. So, scalability can happen and it can go to the next level. That's the way I would look at the insurance, and that is what the endeavor would be. But a very good theme. I'm really very happy with it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Singhal.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
Partnered by Times Influence.